Oh my goodness, what am I thinking? Desecrating graves on my first day at work. Hello, welcome to the Halloween episode of the Game Dungeon. Tonight we have Yuppie Psycho. This is an adventure-ish game, and there's a lot here. Yeah, don't worry about the seizures, I'll try and edit that out. And this title screen is accurate for what to expect. But look, they're putting an ad for another game in the damn title. Oh well, let's start. You play Brian Pasternak. He's a young, insecure man with anxieties too by the looks of things, applying for his first job. He received a job offer in the mail for a prestigious company. He's worried it could be a scam though. And I should get this out of the way, this game has two separate art styles going on. One of which, as you can see here, is anime-ish, and honestly, I'm the wrong audience for that. What's always turned me off are the overacting anime expressions. I see this, and I'm expecting to take the content as seriously as a Jim Carrey movie. But no, the anime usually expects me to take it seriously. So I don't know, it's just never landed with me. Anyway, I'm not trying to piss off all anime fans. The point is, I'm all in on this game in spite of anime tones not being my thing. So there's other stuff here too, including an additional art style. Most of the game is pixel art, but it's kind of this subgenre of pixel art. I've seen a lot of games do this sort of thing, but you notice those thin one-pixel arms and legs? Man, that's a standard style by now. I don't know what the origin of this is, though the earliest I know that look from is from the game Sword and Sorcery. They were sporting that look. Though the characters in Yuppie Psycho have eyes, so it's a mix of things. Anyway, we've arrived for work. Let's talk to people. Hey! The administration of an order branch's functional task is directly proportional to the product received from its contractual relationship to the net profit. Okay, let's talk to him. No, smoking in the lobby. So this must be in the 80s or 90s, I guess. Yeah, see, there's one of those anime expressions again. Alright, I'll stop. So Chapman here is asking about my tailor, but he's picking up some cues that I may not be from a prestigious background. Excuse me, but what class are you? I'm class G. Get away from me, vermin! Class G scum! Shut up! What brings a piece of shit like you to a company like this? Do you know where you are? This is the original Sintracorp headquarters, the legendary building that gave birth to one of the greatest companies in the world. This company only hires the smartest, most qualified people at the international level. Students from the most prestigious universities are rejected by the handful for not making the grade. Candidates of proven experience fight for a... No, I can't keep talking to you. Get out of here. Well, that was informative. A pamphlet. Every year, Sintracorp provides aid to millions of people in underdeveloped sectors via social work. Remember, there can be no growth without sustainability. Man, so many ways to read that. Security, stability, fair salary, and ultimately your welfare are our priorities. Sintracorp provides Class A citizenship to all of our employees. We spent half a century at the top working for you. Class A is a dream for someone like me. Yeah, that's nice. What's in the trash? Now this face doesn't look that exaggerated to me, depending on what exactly he was fondling in the trash. This is cordoned off? Oh, Miss Administration has a minute to talk now. This is Kate. They're presenting her like she's a future love interest, or sacrifice, or something. Oh, so she was born Class E, but her family's ascended since then. Aiming high there, Brian. She works in disaggregate analytics. What's your specialization? Managing redundancy? Combined programs? Network protocol systems? Management of vertical bases? Structural data calculus? I bet computers eliminated a lot of these jobs. Well, Brian comes clean, but she's really impressed by his job offer. This job upgrades your status to Class A permanently. This is an important company. Surely they do a thorough scan of every student in the country. Man, a lot going on in this game. So Chapman gets called up, then Kate, you do not. But the elevator opens when we try to leave. Ah! Top floor, management. Yeah, there's a fancy lobby and a trail of blood and some sort of banquet. I kind of expected this. Kill the witch. Okay, see, I was thinking vampires. I mean, this looks like a vampire company to me. A contract for us. 10,000 credits a day, bonuses for achievements, promotion to Class A. That sounds pretty good, Brian. But he wants to read the annexes. It sounds like they can make him do whatever they want. There's not enough information here since it refers to another law. Now, for those saying Brian should get a lawyer, Brian can't afford a lawyer. Get real, guys. Yeah, just sign it. The Class A upgrade is permanent, and they probably won't make you do awful things right away. So if it turns out really badly, you can stockpile your pay and use it to run later and live in a cabin out in the woods or something. All good. Welcome to the team. Yeah, there's no job description either. So we just have free reign. Awesome. My kind of job. Let's go floor by floor. Canteen. Looks in order. At Sintracorp, you're not an employee, you're a leader. A candy bar costs 150 credits. I don't have enough money. Oh, that's not good. A Coke costs 150 credits. Okay, so this is in what? Early 90s? So what does a Coke and a Snickers cost? 50 cents each? So if he's getting 10,000 credits a day, that's what? 33 bucks a day? That's not good. Now granted, that takes you farther in the early 90s than now, but look, in 1991, 8 hours a day, that's right at the minimum wage. Shit. Well, Brian is still Class A now. We can still salvage this. Think positive, people. These cornflakes give you superpowers. Well, let's check out floor 2, Initiation. Yeah, business. Brian's afraid to head off blindly into the dark. Fair enough. IT and security. Locked and more dark. Okay, Hive. Yep, dark again. I know that screen said witch, but I don't think we should rule out vampires. Oop, the lights went out. Ah, fancy watermarked paper. I guess someone was hiding in the ceiling. We're greeted by Hugo. Here we do management tasks, work with databases, and computer stuff. Everyone here does their own thing. My kind of place. Look at that guy. Let me introduce you to... See? He didn't even notice us.
Morning, Frank. Jack Issel.
Yeah.
Max Landsberger. How you doing?
One guy even comes here just so he can sleep. Ha ha ha. Yeah, this is a good game. Here's your new office. Here's your coworker, Sosa. Hi, I'm Pasternak. Will he task you with refilling the coffee? There's some unused grounds in the trash. Works for Hugo. Coffee gives you a much stronger energy boost than a plain cup of water. Water's only really good for showering. Any questions? Yeah, what's my job? Do you really want to start working already? You've only just arrived. Yeah, look at the concern on his face. That's great. Oh, he forgot to teach us the most important thing about working here. You can use this to print important data or documents, but let's face it, those are lower floor tasks, right? Here on the 5th floor, we use this wonderful device for fun things like photocopying our asses. No time like the present. Here we go. I think I should have done it double-sided. Okay, now it's your turn. Come on, Brian, peer pressure time. You want to advance at this company, don't you? Are you a team player or not, Brian? I guess you don't have to use your ass. Why not your face? But you just... Oh no, it's out of paper. There's that genuine concern face again. Amazing. I can't believe we don't have any paper. Is there some in your briefcase? Speak of the devil. Soul photocopied. Which paper? I can see you know how to take care of yourself, Pasternak. Well, I guess that was orientation. And this is not the 90s. Those are LCD monitors. I guess we're on an alternate timeline. Yeah, I don't even know what country this is. I mean, most of the employees look like they're of European descent, but the business vibe is kind of Japanese. Plus, there's the whole class system, which I'm curious about. Well, unfortunately, we can't even pretend to work since our computer requires an ID. Hugo says it's probably in the boss's office. Oh look, a phone call from the boss. He says our ID is in Office D. Here we are. There's something written on the floor. It's a trap. Uh-oh. Coolio.
I'm not working anything.
No, Coolio, don't shut the son of a... I got shit to do.
Hey, do you know where the exit is? Yeah, maybe we should untie him. We can't. Brian sucks at knots. Well, you're the light source, so you're coming with me. Okay, that's a lot of bodies. So we no longer have plausible deniability that this is just an eccentric company to work at. Sintracorp isn't exactly airing their dirty laundry, but they're stuffing it in the closet here. Oh, and I'm pretty sure they're being hung by Cat 5 cable. Look out! It's the office gimp! You know, I don't think we're gonna find our ID here. We should probably head back to the office. So yeah, this is a corporate horror game. That's a somewhat underserved subgenre. I mean, that was a big part of the appeal for me in Phantasmagoria 2. And what I was hoping for from Fahrenheit, though it faked me out. I have to say, Yuppie Psycho is some of the best in class so far. Oh, and speaking of Phantasmagoria 2, that episode has been banned from YouTube. Yeah, now that episode was always age-gated, and it adhered to YouTube policies when I released it. I guess not anymore. Well, the game didn't change, YouTube did. Anyway, you can still download it from my website. I'll have a link for it below. Back to the game, we head to the boss's office. Hugo is sitting in the dark with flies buzzing everywhere. There's some more blood here too. Brian reports to him. Ah, I think I understand. That monster you think you saw is actually a fellow that went a little crazy a few weeks ago and locked himself in his office. Brian tells him about the hostage and bodies, and my god. Hugo's response sounds like a real-life manager to me. Well, man, I don't think there's anything like that going on in here. Yes, I could 100% see an office manager responding that way. Well, all's well that ends well, and your ID was in the room all along. Oh, did I not tell you? There aren't any bosses in this company. There's not a single one in the entire building. I know it sounds a bit weird, but they've all gone crazy and left in most cases. Oh my god, this is a dream job. Okay, maybe not a dream job exactly, since there's bodies and hostages and whatnot, but I would work here. This is looking like paradise compared to almost every job I've had. Did I say work? Well, don't try to do too much. You wouldn't want to go crazy like that monster. Ha ha ha. Well, work is a far more subjective concept when you have no job description. Are we working? Well, I guess we won't know until we try. We log into the computer and we log in. It's not clear what happens, but you enter cyberspace and talk to this AI construct. My name is Sintra. I am in charge of guiding you through your new job. Oh, damn it, it's an AI boss. Honeymoon's over. I will explain the responsibilities your occupation entails. Right. The focus of your work at Sintracorp is on a single goal. Exterminate the creature called Witch. Oh, you have been hired as a witch hunter. Oh, okay, so that wasn't just graffiti earlier. That message in blood was specifically for me. Alright. Well, Brian's not very open-minded about this. Big surprise. Well, Sintra needs us to locate the Hexenhammer, a witchcraft treatise written in the 15th century that describes how to identify, hunt, and execute these unique creatures. It's somewhere in the building, so hop to it. Before you leave, your work here is confidential. You cannot disclose to anyone your status as a witch hunter or related responsibilities. So this is a witch hunt. The game gives us a clue where to start, but we have open reign and can go where we want if it's not locked or too dark. Do you want my cup of water? You know, while I like the adventurous spirit, I think this particular adventure isn't going to take me or Brian to places we want to go. No, I'll pass. Besides, I already have multiple cups of water in my briefcase. Hugo is Employee of the Month. Forever. Ah, what's in here? It's horse shit. So if we head to the archives to find the Hexenhammer, we have some basic puzzle segments that have a good flow to them. Oh, we also have living landmines. Damn it. Though you get clues that you can take them out by throwing pencils at their eyes. And this is the core of the gameplay. Exploring new areas, solving puzzles, and not dying. I really like this atmosphere. How you go in and out of zones that are more safe and less safe. I honestly love that feeling of being in the eye of the storm of a dangerous situation, knowing it's still out there, but you're okay for the moment. Oh, see what I mean? Lights out! And somebody's shuffling around and breathing heavily. Okay, all better. Yeah, if we track it down, it's actually not a monster. It's another witch hunter who is half hamburger helper since he had problems with the landmines also. And if you notice, the body is not in the cabinet. It's not in this one either. So I have to assume it's in there with him. We don't get an answer as to why that is, or what he was doing dragging the body in the first place. And that's probably for the best. He gives us the helpful tip that if you just use a piece of metal to fix the fuse box, then the lights in the dark rooms with moaning in them will work again. Well, we may as well, though believe it or not, I kind of don't want to burn the building down. Like I said, this is easily better than the jobs I've had. Though I could be downplaying the landmines. That would suck. I mean, you can defuse them, but you have a limited supply of pencils. So you can't just disable every one you come across. Yeah, don't do that. Damn it. Fired! Yeah, you probably guessed it, but the witch paper are your saves. And they're limited, Resident Evil style. I've mentioned in a previous Halloween that I'm not a fan of the format, and I'm still not. I knew saving before a minefield was a good idea though, since it was. So that's the last information to get the Hexenhammer, which is good because... Oh, looks like Hugo is Super Frog now. This game is amazing. Oh, there it is. We're playing hardball. Right. Watch it, Brian. Yeah, that does downgrade the job experience for me if someone is actively trying to kill me. And it's not just an occupational hazard. That changes the game some. I think I would still want to work here, but I would get one of those special body armor suits, make myself stab resistant, that sort of thing. When we make it, we have all the information for the book, but this is a bureaucracy. So despite having the document filled out, we still need to get Sintra's approval stamp. Though that's a good sign, because that means we're probably farther along than any other witch hunters so far. See, I was kind of worried about the competition back there, because it means Brian isn't special. Sintra may have been hiring dozens of witch hunters for all we know. So if one of them succeeds, I think that means we're out of a job. And I don't want that, because I like working here. Oh wait, Sosa wants to talk to us. How are you? The keyboard and the computers and that. The mouse. Click, click. Is everything all right? Hey, come over here. Has anyone talked to you about her yet? The witch. Shh. Yeah, I would definitely get along with Sosa. She's my type. Well, she says this company is like a fallen apple. A fallen apple rotting from the inside, and the witch is the worm. And if she catches you, you become one of her children. Uh-oh, it's Hugo. Bye. Hey, Hugo, you tried to kill me, right? Oh, it's his birthday. How nice. Back in cyberspace, we get more great music and the authorization from Sintra. She also confirms what Sosa said. The witch has been hiding in this company and spreading corruption for decades. Her predictions show that she is likely to have affected every person in this company to some degree, with particularly weak-willed individuals falling under her sway. Watch yourself, Pasternak. Yeah, I'm having some thoughts on the witch and the company corruption, but let's keep going for now. We finally enter the library to find the book and have some more basic puzzle solving. We also have some bullshit, since if I press this button here, I'm trapped as poison gas floods the chamber and I die. Okay, see, here's the problem. The problem is not that the game just pulled a sucker punch death on me. That's okay, that keeps me guessing. The problem is the game is limiting my saves, which incentivizes me to go as long as I can in between them. So now I have to start back before the minefield, navigate it again, have these same conversations all over again, and so on. Now, I've said before, I think you probably should not be able to save anywhere you want for a scary game, because then that ups the tension. But the player doesn't know what's coming, so they can't make an informed decision. They can only guess. But if they're extra cautious and want to save a lot, then they're going to get screwed later because then they'll run out of saves and may stop playing. The player should not be penalized for being more cautious in a scary game. I think the only good answers here are to either have unlimited saves, but have your save points few and far between, or just have automatic save points because the developer is probably going to know better where they're needed. And keep sucker punch deaths close to the saves, unless they're really obvious ones. It sounds counterintuitive, but you don't want your player dying a lot in a scary game. You want them almost dying. Limited saves screws all of this up. Just because Resident Evil did it doesn't mean you should keep it. Resident Evil had tank controls too, and Yuppie Psycho didn't have a problem getting rid of that. Well, another cue this game takes from Resident Evil is the fantastic music. You've probably noticed by now, but I want to say 80 to 90% of the soundtrack is a home run. I like almost all of it. We have a lot of the upbeat 90s synth corporate music. The tension-building scary music. Or cyberspace, man. Anyway, the Hexenhammer is encased by a cocooned worker, and when we take it, naturally it triggers a boss fight. Some giant spider thing that lays landmines. Now, it's worth noting that you have no defenses in this game. All you can do is run around. And this boss fight is kind of a taste of things to come. See, it leads you into thinking that you have to push the cards to trigger the mines while the boss is near them in order to damage it. Well, that's kind of a pain in the ass, especially since it's dark and not easy to see off screen, and my newly acquired flashlight has limited battery power, even though it's not too bad. But just the timing on all of this crap, when I'm not sure which way the boss is going to go as it is? No, I don't like this. Can't Brian just find a pointy stick or something and try to attack it? So this seems like misery, and it is to me. But wait, you can just trigger the mines yourself when the boss is close and just eat the damage. Oh yeah, that is much easier. I have Snickers to burn. This is worth going through my supply. And bam, it's over. An owl with one eye flies off? Let's report back. Sintra is pleased. As a reward for your work, you will receive a bonus of 1,000 credits. Oh wow, so now I can afford to buy a whole 6-pack of soda. Big money. Sintra then briefs us on our whole witch hunting itinerary, though we still don't know much and it feels a little aimless. You want me to go question women all over the company and try stabbing them with a knife? I'm pretty sure that would also kill people who aren't witches. That's a good point, Brian. Oop, there's some sort of noise outside cyberspace. We should log out. Oh, okay. It's a Napoleonic colonel yelling at us to attend a meeting. Business. This is a long sequence, but not much happens aside from repeating the company motivational slogans, which are, you are the lowest of the low, you're garbage, but you should be the best of the best, and you'll do that through your work. But that's not enough, so you'll do it with your blood too. I feel like we're blurring the lines of reality again. Parts of this game barely feel like an exaggeration.
Max, this man is talking in German.
I never listen to these guys anyway.
Well, I'll spare you from the rest of the meeting, plus we have a flashlight now. So on to Hive. There's so much here. I feel like you could analyze this for hours. This place is overflowing with environmental storytelling. And damn, this music is good. But some of the highlights. A guy chewing on a power cable? The IT guy yelling at me to get out of here? A guy taking a break to cry? It's good to shed a tear every 50 minutes. Giant line to something. Praising a giant printer? Shit. A safe space, I guess. Blue screen. Fucking landmines. Another dead guy. Toxic gas. Why you should be grateful to work at Sintracorp. We are the biggest company in the world, granting stable positions to all types of people. The capital is full of unemployed people, and we're sure you don't want to be one of them. Every day we receive 5,000 resumes from people willing to work here for free. So this company doesn't actually need you. Yeah, did you guys catch earlier how Kate said that Sintracorp has access to all student records for hiring? Like that's just a normal thing? It sounds like there's a merger, or at least a lot of overlap, between Sintracorp and the government itself. I'd like to know more about that. Speaking of Kate, she works here now and is keeping busy. It's her first day too, but I feel like she's going to be entering the wide world of stimulants before long in her career. Well, Brian tries to flirt with her, but oops, breaks over and she needs to round up the marketing department. But she still has 30,000 photocopies to organize. That is a lot. Well, Brian's crushing on her, so he offers to help. You may as well. He's getting paid per day. I'm in no rush. This is the marketing department. 4 employees are missing. They're usually harmless, but if you tell them something they don't like, they'll throw a tantrum. I advise you look around for good marketing slogans and use those to convince them to follow you. So this entails exploration and puzzle solving. Yeah, there you go. Back safe and sound in the marketing department. As we round them up, we also get a chance to talk to the IT guy. You're busy fixing computers? No way, I'm gutting them to keep the best components. Oh, so he's just looting the place. Man, I see some of myself here. This guy's seasoned. He can see this company's descended into chaos, so why not cash out while you're in here? Nobody knows what's going on anyway. Wow. Well, we bring the last marketer back, but uh-oh. Sorry, Brian, something happened. A marketing girl who was already inside just escaped. I tried to catch her, but it was impossible. She ran off into human resources. Poor thing's sick of marketing and slogans. She always goes there to get a new job. Guess we've got to round her up too then. Those rascally marketers. Off to human resources. Who came in? Come closer. Yeah, those are the human resource ladies. The anthropomorphic mouth spitting venom. They make this very memorable laugh, which sounds a little like a hen clucking, but it's a bit different. The venom hurts a lot if they hit you too. Great, a stealth segment, my favorite. Well, we pass the guy working on the resume wall and make it to the head of human resources. She tries to trick you with evidence on the witch, but you have to lure a sacrifice in to get it, otherwise she'll just eat you. Yeah, see, this is not a sucker punch death. I think we saw this one coming. Load, give her the sacrifice, get the photo. She sicks the HR ladies on you, but you rescue the marketing lady and make it back to the hive safe and sound. Shit, she's sending even more HR ladies after me. Yeah, now they're going to be roaming the hive indefinitely. This sucks. Let's get out of here. Checking back on the 5th floor, we talked to some coworkers. Pasternak, are you a man of flesh or blood? Probably better to conform with the company culture. Blood. Oh, I'm waiting to see you turn into one when the time comes. Me, I'm a man of blood too. Shut up, stupid. What about you? I cannot. I said no. I'm sorry. No, but no. It's impossible. Well, we give the clue to Sintra, and she says we should visit the family cemetery on the 8th floor. Garden. Yeah, it's just a complete dark forest here. It looks like this is where everyone comes for their smoke breaks. The cemetery's locked anyway, and Pasternak isn't really the fence-hopping type. Here, the gameplay is starting to get annoying since it's dark and you have these fireflies that chase you everywhere. So you have to duck into these bushes constantly, and it's not awful, it just isn't really fun. Though honestly, is there any game where real tiny bug enemies that are hard to hit are fun to deal with? Games where you don't have a flamethrower, I mean. Diablo 2 just lets you smack swarms with a weapon, so that doesn't really count. This isn't how it normally works. Anyway, we get hints about the goblin liking to smoke as much as he likes cheese, then talk to a crazy hippie with his eyes gouged out who offers us a poison gas contract. Oh, so we don't get a gas mask. We just have a contract saying we can breathe poison gas? Yeah, sure. The price isn't bad. Well, heading back to the ventilation shaft, Sosa tells us we should maybe check out the 3rd floor, and Sintra is gone from her usual spot. Oh, okay, she's swimming in her blood pool. Do you feel up to a swim? The water's so good. No, thank you. You're boring, Brian. We tell her we can't get into the cemetery. I don't care about that. There's something wrong with all of this, and I'm beginning to fear it's me. Why are you saying this? I don't know. What does it matter? What if I'm corrupt? Leave me alone. Do what you want, Brian. Do me a favor, leave me alone. Yeah, I have luck getting stuck with the moody AIs, don't I? Okay, so off to the 3rd floor. Doobie-doo! And it's Toshi, the IT guy. I don't have much work to do. Around here, the crowd can't tell a turned-on computer from a turned-off one. I've had orders accumulated for years and no one says a word, so I mind my own business. Damn, multiple dream jobs in this company. Oh, and Doshi has a theory as to what's happening. Oh, we need to hear this. Let's have it. Get that witch stuff out of your head. Got it. No witches. So he says the company is like a machine and the parts that make it run are the employees, right? And he says Sintracorp is like a printer that's malfunctioning. Sometimes it works, sometimes it has problems. So you can try to fix the printer, but what if there's no owner? And if there's no owner, who says the printer is broken? And that's what's happening. But let's get to the point. Besides being a philosopher, I sell crap. Would you like to buy some batteries or print cartridges? Ah, he got me. I normally don't fall for sales pitches, but he blindsided me with that one. Yeah, so that's not a theory as to why this is happening. That's a theory on how the company is still operating. And him saying to forget the witch, under his logic, that would mean that the standard story is that the witch is what's keeping the company afloat. And his is not such a wild theory, that there's no boss, but since everyone knows their job, the work keeps getting done. Besides, that wasn't the point. The point was for him to sell me crap. Well played. And with a flashlight and poison gas contract, that opens up a lot of areas we can go to. And I'd say if we were to stop the game here, I'd have to give it the highest rating I could. This game is amazing. The atmosphere's great, the music's great, the gameplay is kind of standard, but it's competent, mostly. But more importantly, it really makes you want to keep playing. I'm enjoying every minute of it. Except the save rationing and maybe those fireflies. What this game does best is portray white-collar corporate life. Now you might be saying, wait a minute. I've been working at companies like this for 10 years, and I never saw a bunch of bodies or people go crazy. That's night shift crap. True, but emotionally, this game understands corporate life maybe better than any other I've seen. I mean, I have to assume most people hate going into their office jobs, and this game captures the existential dread of one without having to actually put the player through the drudgery. So human resource ladies are walking mouths that cluck and spit venom. The marketing department is crawling around on all fours inside a playpen. Management is running around in a cape making frog noises. Emotionally, is this any different from real jobs? Everything about this game feels on point. The only difference is we're seeing it all manifested in a way everyone can understand. Now, a few of you may not get it and think, my job is great. People don't think like this. Booba-dooba-dooba-doo. If so, you'll probably never get it, in which case you can look at this game to understand how a lot of your coworkers see your company. If it's big enough, I guarantee you someone sees it this way. You know that term beer goggles? Well, this game has worker goggles on. Yuppie Psycho isn't just a corporate horror game. It's spitting truth left and right. Complete top shelf material. I'm not even gonna try to go over how many moments of brilliance I think this game has. And that pattern continues in Initiation with everyone shuffling around in the dark. Though the gameplay does not. First, you run into Chapman again, and he's frustrated he can't get out of there. Because he has to pass the promotion test and tries to con you into doing it for him. It sucks too, since 2 of these tests are kind of a pain in the ass and are even harder than the boss fight. They're not impossible, but hard mini-games are not something that win me over. I like the theme though. First, you need to make friends with the smiley people and avoid the grumpy people. Then you need to get the good stuff, like coffee and food, and avoid the bad stuff, like paperwork. Finally, you have to stop all employees running towards the beach to take their vacations and turn them back towards work instead. If even one employee takes their vacation time, you fail the test. This one is particularly hard. It was taking all my effort to pull it off. I will say these tests do seem like skills I would expect of management. Well, I make it through, then ask Chapman to pay up since I agreed to do this for money earlier. He technically makes good on our deal by dropping it on the ground so that the horde scoops it up. But getting him promoted unlocks security, literally. And this is where the game really stops being a top tier experience. Although thematically, it hasn't missed a beat. Over 1,000 cameras are watching out for your safety. Yeah, and more employees tied up in cable twitching as they're jacked into monitors. Oh, we'll come back to this. What you'll be seeing most of in security are these goons with TVs strapped to their heads patrolling the hallways. They run faster than you, and if you come within visual range of them, they damage you heavily. Yeah, these guys aren't cool like that TV head guy in Virginia going around and putting CRTs on people's porches a while back. They just kill you, pretty much. Oh, and this whole area is a maze. How delightful. It's easily the biggest area in the game so far, too. I actually like the idea of exploring this, but the roaming guards are just misery. Sometimes there are places you can hide in to evade them, but their patterns just throw me off. I mean, it should be as simple as learning their pattern than going in between the gaps, right? I mean, I never really liked that gameplay either, but I'm the outlier. That's a very standard format for stealth games. Well, sometimes I see patterns, but look at this. If the red zone hits me, I'm dead. What's the pattern here? What's the fucking pattern? Oh God. Or look at this. I need to get to the right, but this guard is blocking the hallway. Uh-oh, he almost spotted me. Duck under the table. So what? Is he just going to stand there? Hello? He's still blocking the hallway. He's blocking both exits. There's no other way around this? Jesus Christ, what am I supposed to do here? Damn it, I hate stealth games. Finally. He just had to really inspect this hallway. And the cherry on top is I actually didn't need to go this way. I just thought I did. And apparently nobody on the internet has made a map of this area. Do I really have to be the one to do it? On a modern game with some actual exposure? Well, wait. Somebody made a 3D version of the building in Gary's mod. Wow. It's not entirely to scale and it's missing a lot of areas, but the parts they did do are really good. And yeah, they didn't even bother mapping out security. Well, I started to do it myself, but due to the lighting, this will be a real pain in the ass to make it look good, and I decided my time would be better spent finishing the Revenant map anyway. So, trick or treat, no map. You can get lost in the dark too. Well, in the game itself, I'm deep into the maze, but what's this? It's plugged into the screen. I can't pull the cord out with my hands alone. Well, I have a screwdriver, but wait a minute. You're giving me that hint now? Half an hour into this maze? See, I've been passing loads of these security stations and people wrapped up in network cable. Well, the bodies had IDs on them. I assumed I needed them, which I do. But now the game is telling me I should have been disconnecting these TVs also? Yes, I should. So now I need to backtrack all around this damn map going back to all these TVs to disconnect. Though backtrack implies I know where I'm going. Do I really need to do this? Kind of. We'll come to that. And look at this. I checked my old footage. I'm grabbing the ID, I checked the TV, and it even says, I don't see anything useful here. Right. I need to wander around the maze for half an hour with TV men frying me, then I'll remember I actually did see something. Ah! Stealth games. Can't I just smash their screen and disable them? If I could disable them, this experience would be 10 times better. Especially with limited saves. I mean, security isn't that complicated, but it sure is when you don't know what you need to be doing. And that's really a pattern in this game. There are multiple areas where if you know what to do, they're very easy. But if you don't, they can be frustrating to the point of making you want to quit the game. You ever run into a computer or a technical problem where if you know the solution, it's simple, but it might take days or weeks to find that solution? But then if you try explaining how frustrating it was, you just look stupid because the answer is easy? So it sounds easy to everyone else? I have. Like, take this antechamber before the boss. Here you have to insert key cards into the slots. Simple enough, but oops! One of them is missing and is strapped to this employee running around. Well, if you know what to do, and why would you can intercept her right here, bam, done. But if you don't know what to do, which I did not, she runs back to the maze, past the guards again, good God, keeps running every time you catch up to her, unless you block her exit with the TV here. But even then, she'll run past you again if you weren't expecting her to double back. And you get to go through this dance all over again. Blah! Wait, no, I forgot. There was a cutscene where she runs from you before everything I just said. You're gonna run through this maze a lot. There has to be a term for this. A game that's designed to make you look and feel stupid. And there's enough plausible deniability that others can pretend the solution was obvious all along, even though it wasn't, so you're here looking dumb, even though that's totally on purpose. And the boss! Yes, the boss is no different. Easy if you know what to do, feels like you're climbing a cliff if you don't. The boss is the head of security who's in torment and slams his head against the floor every 9 seconds. Then you have 3 seconds to move. If you're too slow, you can get zapped and die rapidly. This part takes forever if you're not sure what you need to do. And why would you be? You just inch along where you can and are afraid to advance too much in case you get fried. Like, I wasn't even sure those tables will provide protection against the light. That was a risk in itself. Oh, and remember those TVs I unscrewed? Well, if you don't unscrew them, then you get more of the guards patrolling on top of the red light, green light crap here. No thank you. Well, you defeat the boss by unplugging him 27 times, and he's actually grateful and is on your side. You're so vulnerable. I'd like to lock you in a room full of cameras 24 hours a day. Aw. You can do it, Brian. Kill her, kill her, kill her. Okay, we don't need a sappy goodbye. Well, that was probably the worst of the gameplay, but we have a new problem which we'll get to in a sec. Now, most of the building has opened up to us, but the big area left is the gas leak back in the hive. Here, there's yet another employee gaming the system and has straight up turned his cubicle into a bar, and looks after a pet monkey. There's a lot of opportunity at Sintracorp. They're not kidding. He's also a numerology freak, and I get more numerology lessons than I've heard in my life. 3 is strength in action. It is an unstoppable and safe weapon that enters attacking and breaking everything in its path. It is indestructible, solid, compact, and sharp. It's a triangle and it has a magical charge. The 3 can achieve anything. 3 only has one weakness. It's a number that suffers a lot of wear and tear, and it has a tendency to become a 4. The deuce is pure evil. It is doubt and indecision, the number of different paths. 2 symbolizes the most profound human duality. The diabolic mesmerism of the impossible symmetry, the profound fear of the unknown, the disturbing duplicity. 2 is without a doubt the worst number of all. It's the god of evil. Huh. Well, we go through a shifting cubicle maze, and I'm loving the atmosphere here. Have another boss fight with a giant printer that's easy if you know what to do, and almost certain death if you don't. It chases us, we fall into a giant pit, yada yada, and around here is where the game's writing starts to break down. See, we start getting clues about past witch hunters, and eventually break into the cemetery to get more clues, talk to a ghost, and it gives us backstory, which doesn't help. It starts going into this tragic tale with sad music playing of the founders of Sintracorp being unable to conceive children, so they spent their life savings on a trip abroad hoping to adopt a baby on the black market. Why? I would think there would be loads of foster kids to choose from. But they found a girl in a cage that the owner sold to them, but there were 2 rules. Don't get her wet, and don't feed her after midnight. And she's a cat? Or a fox girl? What? Then everything was perfect, and they were able to have another daughter. But then she disappeared, and then everything was bad. The end. Yeah, a few things to say about that, but first, on the way out, we're intercepted by Miss Rostov, and she insists we need to get ready for Hugo's birthday party. The problem is, Brian needs to get back to Sintra to get clues about the witch, but he's too timid to just leave because Miss Rostov will blackmail him with office politics if he does. Man, that wouldn't stop me. But he conspires with Sosa for her to provide an excuse to get him out of there. I like her tossing confetti into the same pile over and over. Well, we get roped into a few chores, but then she executes her plan. Ah! Oh, oops! Oh no! I completely forgot! I left my present in the office! This was a special gift, which I bought on my own. Go get it quick. I need help bringing it down because it weighs 400 pounds. Mr. Pasternak, perhaps you could help me since you have so many muscles. No, Brian's busy with the balloons. Oh no! Now that I remember, that gift doesn't exist. If it did though, how many people would that actually take? Especially if you didn't have a push cart or a dolly. Well, I like how she thinks. I know Kate's supposed to be the love interest, but Sosa's competitive. And wouldn't you know it, Hugo arrives before you get out of there. It starts off okay, but then Brian gets drunk from punch and tells Hugo off, saying he knows he's the frog and nobody likes him, they're just afraid of him. It's not fun cornering psychopaths, people, as Brian is about to find out. Well, Hugo pretends to take that in stride, but then reveals to everyone he knows Brian's the witch hunter. Uh-oh. And bum bum bum, everything goes dark. Chaos! Blood everywhere! Blah! It's the witch! Ah! Well, this is the climax, and unfortunately, the writing never really recovers. We managed to escape. I have Monkey Island 2 flashbacks. There's a subplot that feels like it's trying too hard to be funny, and it's mostly apocalyptic wandering after this. Story-wise, the game triples down on the tragic past of the witch and her sister. No, this is just going the wrong direction. See, from here, Yuppie Psycho is just a horror game focused on some tragic past. Well, those kinds of games are a dime a dozen, and I don't find them too interesting. With very few exceptions, I almost never care about a character's tragic past. I care about the crazy present and future. So what if the witch was sad as a kid? We have wall mouths, a spider thing, and people being assimilated by technology like in Superman 3. I mean, that's what we're here for, right? There are still some cool parts. I like the music after bringing android Sintra to life after taking her floating head from the art exhibit. I don't know why Brian hugs her. I guess he's a lonely bastard. Regardless, we're on the wrong track now. Everything's looking backwards and inwards. And while the horror stays consistent, the comedy falls off as the personal drama rises. No, this is a bait and switch. It's making me check out. I mean, the game doesn't become bad, but it's like the writing took us from a 10 out of 10 down to a 5 or 6 out of 10. The problem is they're trying to make the witch and her sister the star of the show. That's a mistake. Sintracorp is our star here. I'm noticing the game really wants to explain why all this crazy stuff is happening, and it's trying to link it all back to the witch, and I think that's another mistake. Less is more here. For starters, I'm not sure we even need an explanation for what we're seeing. I thought we didn't even need an explanation for horseshit in the meeting room. Remember, Sintracorp is the biggest company in the world. Its success is unparalleled. Who the hell are we to question its methods? You know that game Cookie Clicker, where the whole point is to produce more and more cookies? Well, if you get farther into that game, at some point your army of cookie-baking grandmas can make some sort of eldritch pact that allows them to produce even more cookies and starts contorting their bodies. As I understand it, if you want to produce the most cookies, you should accept that pact. But wait, where did this come from? We were just baking cookies. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Eldritch horrors don't need to explain themselves. They just are. So back at Sintracorp, it makes perfect sense to me if things start getting a little freaky when you're the most successful company in the world. Everything you see at the company is just the sort of thing that happens when you're number one. We don't need answers. Or maybe corporate success is the answer. I mean, I took the corruption as a metaphor. The more the game explicitly spells it out as witchcraft, the more that kind of weakens the story. Now, if you wanted to keep the witch angle, there's a few ways of handling that. But she should just be a vague, hand-waving explanation at best. In fact, that could be a clever angle. Define the witch and find out she's just a figurehead and doesn't know what's going on either? Or you kill her and nothing at all changes? Or you kill her, then Sintracorp profits crash and the company goes bankrupt? Or maybe you discover there never was any witch. It was just a red herring, yet all of this is still happening. Now, I wouldn't mind more answers, but the game was asking the wrong questions. Like, why did all the bosses go crazy and leave? What did they see? How does the class system work? If every employee is Class A at Sintracorp, that means upper management is the same class as the janitor. Wait, no, the janitor could be subcontracted. But, a data entry clerk. Or tech support. If they're all the same class, then what distinguishes them? And what do the official classes actually mean then? Why is there mass unemployment at the Capitol? What's happening in the outside world? Instead, we just get a bunch of backstory on the witch's childhood. I mean, if you want the official explanation for all this, it's because the necklace the fox girl was wearing around her neck was evil or something? So when she got neglected, it grew in power like the snake in the Garden of Eden, I think? And she swapped souls with her sister before her body was burned because that's something she does, I guess? But they still backed up Sintra's mind as an AI? It just kind of feels like nonsense the more you trace it back. But it also doesn't matter. These are all details that don't matter. Of course, the writer can do what he wants, and he did. But he took what I think is some of the best corporate satire I've seen, then turned it into a childhood drama about an anime fox girl. Why? In my eyes, he traded solid gold for aluminum foil. Now, the game has multiple endings, and then they added a DLC with even more endings. But they all revolve around the witch, and are just going the wrong direction, even though they do have variety. Well, one of the better ones is you rescue the soul-swapped witch child. I guess she tames the giant snake. We don't see what happens there. She becomes the new CEO by birthright. Yeah, that could be a thing in the future. Hugo tries to stab her because he wanted to be the CEO, but the android kills him dead. Now, if you thought to approach the writhing cocoon things with blood on them making noises like in The Grudge, and didn't assume they were enemies to avoid, you can rescue your coworkers by the end and get some cooldown dialogue. The IT guy can't wait to see the android. Kate offers you a date on the rooftop. Chapman has completely reformed and is now humble and thinks you're a great guy. Oh, yes! I'm totally sure that's what would happen. Well, if you go up on the roof to join Kate, Brian gawks at the city skyline like a tribal villager who has spent his entire life in the jungle and never seen a skyscraper before. I mean, it does look nice and the music's still great, but this face, come on. Ah well, the game started with an anime face, it ends with an anime face. Now I'm not going to go over all the endings, but if you decide to stand Kate up and just go home instead, we get some great evening light. But the part that stood out to me was as he gets farther out from the city, we see fallen skyscrapers buried in the sand or dirt. So that means this society is partially collapsed or retracted. Maybe it's a post-peak oil world. Or maybe it's just economic. Like, you know how a bunch of companies are obsessed with stopping the work from home trend? Because their shareholders have money in commercial real estate, and this is what will happen if they don't force people back into the office? Maybe they lose in the future. See, I think questions like this are far more interesting than tragic backstories of characters we don't really know anyway. Besides the witch options I mentioned earlier, I think some other good directions for endings would be to see Sintracorp's influence spread to other companies or subsidiaries. And we could watch how this changes society more and more. Or maybe see it evolve. In another game, a robot named Fight, this giant flesh monster is invading the Earth and threatening all of civilization, hanging over the sky. Maybe that's the sort of thing that happens if Sintracorp gains even more market share. Maybe this is our endgame. I think there was a lot of wasted potential here. Awards! Well, all-time half favorite. I couldn't like the first half of this game more, but it went from a glorious game to just an okay game. These kinds of games linger in my head much more than outright bad games. Best in class corporate game. I mean, obviously. Though there are a lot of corporate games I haven't gotten to yet, like Corporate Climber, Corporate Lifestyle Simulator, Corporate Beatdown, and so on. But Yuppie Psycho is clearly in the head of the class. And finally, game I wish came out in the 90s. I should explain. Good games that were released in the 90s can sometimes have a cascade effect, where lots of indie game creators get inspired by them, then later create new games to imitate them, because they were there first to make that impression. In an alternate reality where this game had come out on Super Nintendo, we might now have a dozen games imitating this, and that might have done a better job on the second half, and maybe even influence how more people view corporate life. When it wasn't disappointing me, I really liked this game and wanted more. Though I'm probably wishing for the impossible, since this wouldn't have passed Nintendo's censorship standards if it was made in the 90s. That's the episode! Hope you have a productive workday Halloween! Oh, but wait! We forgot to talk to Sosa at the end. What happened at the party? I feel strange. We were attacked by the witch. So we're all dead? Am I a ghost? Yes.